Welcome to episode 22 of Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. Before we dive into the topic of today's episode, I want to remind you that there is still time to get voicemails in for our spring break special episode with both shout outs to your colleagues as well as questions that you want us to answer. We would love to feature your voice, and so the best way to do that is to leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049 with your question or shout out to a colleague. A year ago, we affirmed during the development of our strategic plan that being student-centered is our most important core value at Ivy Tech. This fall, our faculty and staff worked with the Student Government Association to make explicit what this means for us. This work resulted in the creation of student success commitments that would serve as ways each of us, as members of the Ivy Tech community, will create an environment that fosters student success. On December 6, 2018, the Ivy Tech Community College State Board of Trustees affirmed the student success commitments by adopting a resolution that formally adds them to our college's materials alongside our mission, vision, and value statements. Over the past few months, we have discussed how the commitments provide concrete examples of how we, as staff and faculty members of the college, demonstrate our commitment to student success each and every day. Our goal is for every faculty member, staff, and student to be exposed to the commitments on a regular basis, and we hope that all students, faculty, and staff will voluntarily pledge to uphold the commitments. Today, we're wrapping up our special series introducing the commitments by talking about the student commitments with two of our student leaders. Wendy Deschaux. Hi, Wendy. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, please?
So I am currently a biotechnology student here, graduating in the May of 2019. And I am also going to be continuing on at Ivy Tech with a chemistry degree, and I am specializing or concentrating in biopharmaceutical manufacturing.
Excellent. And you are a student member to our Board of Trustees.
Yes, I am.
And you helped us present the commitments to the board.
With so much honor.
And we really appreciate you doing that. And our other guest today is Stephanie Cox. Hi, Stephanie. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am a business student at Ivy Tech in Terre Haute.
Mm-hmm.
I am a TSAP student. I graduate summer of 2020, and then my plan is to transfer to St. Mary's to pursue my degree. I want to receive my bachelor's and my master's degree, and they have a program there where I can work on it simultaneously. So
very good.
I'm really excited about that.
Excellent. We talked about TSAPs and transfer as a junior in our very first episode. So I'm glad to see that you're going to earn that degree. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
So thank you both for joining us today. And I'm going to take a moment and ask the two of you if you would just read out the student commitments for our audience, if you want to sort of go back and forth between them. Stephanie, do you mind reading that first one there?
Attend class, learn the names of your instructors, and work to develop a relationship of trust with them.
Complete what you start.
Attempt each assignment.
Develop well-organized and disciplined study habits.
Ask questions and be prepared to use campus support resources such as tutoring or disability support services when needed.
Thank you both, ladies. So as you read through those, Wendy, I know you've had a chance to see them before. Stephanie, maybe in the emails as we were preparing for this episode, but these are probably pretty new to you. As you think about them, why do you think that the commitments are important?
Well, I think that they're important because I do use the tutoring, and I think it is a very important resource for, everyone, because I know when I attended, years ago, they did not have that, and it really helps you get a step ahead. If you're having trouble grasping something, it's great to go down, and they're very friendly. There's students and teachers that can help you and walk you through something, and then they can teach different maybe than the instructor. And, sometimes you learn differently, from a different person, and it helps you wrap your mind around something that you weren't able maybe to do in class.
Very good.
And I also utilize the disability support services because I do have issues with anxiety and mental health. And it's been a really helpful resource because it helps give me extra time on testing and stuff like that. And I think that's amazing that they do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wendy?
Well, Miss Kara, in addition to us being students to Ivy Tech, Stephanie and I are amongst a total of 19 other presidents who are SGA presidents, that's Student Government Association for SGA. And so the commitments were first presented to us by Dr. Corey Ryan during a President's Council meeting. And during that time, we were looking into the impact that these commitments would make. And so these commitments really are going to be applied dominantly for future students. The ideal situation is that once a new student comes into Ivy Tech, the commitments will have been integrated as a part of the culture. Right. So for some of us, we may have had a situation or a time where we did not apply the commitments and in turn did not succeed to the potential that we could have. But these commitments, as we had discussed prior and all throughout learning about them even more, we realized that they're really centered around the success of the student. And that is the purpose that any student would want to come to Ivy Tech, to be successful and to do so in a timely manner.
Good. As you both think about, Wendy, you sort of mentioned that they are more sort of geared towards something they would do when they come into Ivy Tech, but they also apply to you guys as you think about starting spring semester. We're recording this in January. The episode will actually go live in February, but we're right here before spring semester starts. As you read those, is there anything else that comes to mind for you that you might change in the way you do things as a result of the commitment, or maybe things you'll encourage your fellow students to do as student government leaders as a part of putting the commitments into action?
Well, I know that when I have fellow students at Terre Haute, it's amazing when the first time students, they come and they really don't know about these resources. So right. I feel that it's important to let them know that they are there to utilize. Absolutely. And it's there to help them succeed.
Right.
And to give them a bright future. I also encourage them to get to know their instructor because all the instructors are very friendly people and they are there to help you succeed. Ivy Tech has hired amazing instructors and they're very great people. You know, they're not monsters. You know, I try to tell because some of the younger ones are the new students, even the ones that are, you know, non-traditional students are kind of intimidated, you know, by the instructors. And I try to tell them, you know, they're not only your instructors, they are also can become your friends.
Right.
You know, they want you to succeed.
We live and work in the communities where we teach too. So we're a part of that broader community that you serve.
Absolutely.
I suppose personally, the commitment that really shouts straight at me was the develop well-organized and disciplined study habits. As part of the biotechnology program at the West Lafayette campus, well, I suppose it's a Lafayette campus, but our teacher really emphasizes in-class work, and it's almost very difficult to not understand how he's teaching, but that time away from the class time to take time to study and to reemphasize the concept is just something that I am very guilty of not doing. So I needed to own up to that and say that, yes, I'm performing fine now, but I have that potential of performing even better. I could get a 92 in a class, but what if I could get a 96? I mean, so, and really these commitments, even as we read about them within the President's Council, which one could assume is a group of very, at least disciplined students, still it was very eye-opening to know that there's always room to grow, that you can always continue to develop yourself and to perfect yourself as a student and as an individual. And I think that these commitments stretch out to even that. They're not just Ivy Tech centered, but can be applied even when people go into a foreign institution or a grad school or even in whatever situation that they have to succeed in.
Yeah. I love you used the growth concept because we've talked about that a lot with the commitments with, you know, many of your faculty. You said many of them are great and they are. And we've talked about, okay, what can you do to get better? So what else can you do? And one of my personal one from the staff is we're supposed to make eye contact and smile. That's our very first commitment. And so I have made it a point every day when I get out of my car here at campus, my phone goes in my bag because we all do that, right? We're running from place to place and we're looking at our phone to see where we're supposed to be next and what we're supposed to be doing. So.
And I also want to add that I really did appreciate the approach of Dr. Ryan and his team, that each of the commitments did not particularly tell the other, oh, go as a student and tell your professor to do this. Right. But rather it was an example where one can really look at the person in the mirror of what can I do to better the situation. And that's so much more easier and kind of clears away the tension because, true, there are some professors who may have to do more than they do now. And for students, we can be able to identify that, and vice versa. A professor can feel that about a student or a staff member, whichever way it goes. But these commitments are about you yourself doing a better thing each moment. And if each person takes that, these commitments as part of their attending or part of their commitment to Ivy Tech, then, I think we're going to be living in a really nice world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
What do you, as you think about this, is if you guys think ahead, 2 years down the line, and I'm sitting here having this conversation with your successors who come in after you, what do you think does look different at Ivy Tech after these commitments are fully implemented?
Well, like she said, there's only room to grow. Things get better. What I like is the classes are small and the instructors are able to learn your names. So it feels personal, and you can form a relationship. And so you're able to not only, the instructor to learn the names of all the students, and it feels personal, but you're able to also get to know the students around you because the classes aren't huge. And you're able to recognize if a student is struggling. I know for me, and I know I've only been back at Ivy Tech now for a year, but I have helped a few students because I recognize that they were struggling because I seen myself in them, like things I had trouble in the past. Because Wendy was talking about room to grow and study habits, because I know for every hour that you have in class, you need to go home and, study 2 or 3 hours, which is something my children just can't. They think it's amazing. Like, Mom, really, do you need to study that much? And I'm trying to be a good influence for them.
Absolutely.
So that not only is it there at school, but it goes outside of home. You're being a role model for your children because there's a lot of non-traditional students. My son is actually a student.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, which is strange. My son, he goes to school with me. We're doing this together.
Good.
That's
and awesome.
I'm very proud of him, and I'm trying to be a role model. Now, he's not as committed as I am. I wish that he was, but he is doing a good job.
Good.
He's just not an overachiever like Mom, I guess.
Good. And Stephanie, you've talked about this a little bit about sort of helping your fellow students see the commitments and learn how to implement them. You two both have wonderful positions with Student Government Association. What do you think is the student role, or what are you personally going to do to help your other students embrace these commitments?
I think it's important, since I am a leader, to reach out to not just the ones that are struggling, but everyone, because just because a person looks like they have it together, they may not.
Right.
And, just to kind of be there for everyone. It's kind of like I'm the mayor of my campus. I've only been there a year and I feel like everyone knows me. I'm going down the highway. Hi. But I do want to help people. That's why I took the position.
Good.
And I really enjoy it. And I know that this is my first term. And since I graduate in the summer of 2020, I'm really considering if I'm able to doing it again. Good. Because I love it so much.
Great.
Well, I suppose the communication too, and this kind of ties with the students who are coming in 2 years from now, and that would sort of be about empowering them. These commitments, again, as I repeat, are really about looking at what you can do. So look at the man in the mirror, the man or the woman in the mirror, and apply what you think can better that person's perspective or that person's experience. And so one example of which was at the Lafayette campus. Dr. Laws, who is our vice chancellor, he gave me an opportunity as the president of the student government to speak during the orientations. And during that time, he just really gave me a spiel saying that, okay, you can just say your opinions about, Ivy Tech and your experience and some tips. And it's interesting that a lot of the things that I was saying kind of did tie into the commitments, such as attending class and being committed to what you begin, because that's really a part of life. Stephanie mentions the various commitments that a person might have outside of Ivy Tech, but the truth of the matter is that once a person decides to attend an educational institution, you have to be adult enough and mature enough to understand that that institution is going to require an investment from you. And if you're not prepared for that investment, then maybe it's not a good decision for you. But once you have invested yourself in that institution, you should go all in. Right. And so that was my message for the students then. And it was just really about what can you do to better your situation? Because really in every situation in life, that's the best advice that you can give a person. And that empowers them and gives them the confidence. And going back to the first question of the 2-year student of the future, so this student is also going to come in with this empowerment, this confidence, given that all of this is being coupled by the commitments offered by the staffs and by the commitments by our professors. So it's just going to be a wonderful collaboration, and everyone's going to be focusing on themselves, which is a scope that they can control.
Right. Well, and I want to, as we sort of wrap up our conversation today, I want to make sure to give credit to the sort of collective body of our SGA presidents, the body that the two of you sit on. As Dr. Klossman-Ryan, who you mentioned, Wendy, presented these to you, one of the things that you all said is that you wanted this to be seen as a shared responsibility. And so we added the sentence that's at the 2 sentences that are at the front of the commitments, that student success is a shared responsibility between students, faculty, staff, and other college community members, and a campus culture of student success is fostered when all actively seek to improve on the following behaviors. That wasn't a part of our commitments until that conversation that Corey had with our students. And so for those of us that poured blood, sweat, and tears into developing these and getting them approved, that will always be for me, a tribute to our students and who you are and what you do. So I applaud you and want to applaud your whole group as a result of that. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would also like to add, Wendy had said it's like a commitment. I try to treat it like my second family because it is a commitment, and I take it very seriously. And I also want to give credit to Charles Ruby and Melissa Kearns, who is kind of like my advisor. I don't know what I'd do without them. They're amazing people.
Yes,
they're never frowning. They're always in a great mood. And this past fall, I was blessed enough to be picked to be in the Leadership Academy.
Outstanding. Congratulations.
I thought that was just, it was an amazing experience. Yeah. And I think that also helps develop leadership in the school, because that's not just on a few people's shoulders. There was, I believe, 20 of us, maybe a little less, and we were given the tools to not only uplift ourselves and be the best people we can be, but also go out and help our fellow students and the people outside of Ivy Tech too, outside in the community. Yeah. And I think that it was an amazing, experience, and I was glad to take part of it.
Good. Wonderful. Anything else you want to share today, Wendy, for this episode?
It's just to go back on the importance of it being a collaboration. And I also want to thank people like yourself and Kat Stremecki for being awesome individuals who are always having students' backs. I mean, your smiles really do go a long distance, and your hard work is very much appreciated. You are literally changing lives. So I'm very thankful also for the opportunity, and I think that Ivy Tech was one of the best ideas I ever had. So.
Very good.
I also want to thank you, and especially Kat. I don't know, she is an amazing person.
Yes, she is.
She is just like I said, Mr. Ruby and Mrs. Kearns. She's an amazing person, just like they are. Yeah. And I am blessed to know her.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing experience doing this. It's made me a better person. And I hope to do it again. That's how much I enjoyed it. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you both for joining us today. In each episode, we do ask our listeners to engage in a call to action. Our call to action, again, this month is to read the commitments if you haven't yet done so. They are available on our website at ivytech.edu/podcast in the show notes for this episode. Already read through them? Let us know how you are engaging with the commitments by dropping us an email, engaging with me on Twitter, or leaving us a voicemail. We will give you all of that contact information in just a second. Thank you again for joining episode 22 of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank our two panelists today, Wendy Deschaux and Stephanie Cox. Ladies, thank you again for joining us today. I am your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. And I'm going to give you a promotion. Our executive producer is... Our executive producer is Ann Penny Valentine. Ann is on Twitter at Indy Penny. The special producers for this episode were Corey Klossman Ryan and Kat Stromecki, who you heard referred to several times for this episode. I want to thank them for helping to prepare this episode and make sure that our students could be here today. The email address for the show is ourcollegeyourvoices at ivytech.edu. You can leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. Our website is ivytech.edu/podcast. It is maintained by Tracy Allen. Production assistance is provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah DeWitt, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team. Our podcast concept was by Matthew Pittman. Theme music, recording, and post-production services, as always, provided by the incredible Jen Eads at the Brossie Broadcasting Company. And we will see you next time on Our College, Your Voices.